Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praise be Jesus Christ on this feast of Saint Simon and Saint Jude. Calling this reflection Apostolic Intimacy. We read in the Gospel today, from the Gospel according to Luke, Jesus went up to the mountain to pray, and he spent the night in prayer to God. When day came, he called his disciples to himself, and from them he chose 12, whom he also named apostles, and goes on to name each and every one. And I want to read the reflection basically from the Magnificat today, which is extremely beautiful and all-encapsulating of this idea of true apostolic intimacy and apostolic charity. And it touches on the fact that all of our apostolic work will flow naturally from our intimacy with Christ, just as Christ went up the mountain to pray to the Father, to be with him before going out and choosing his apostles. So he does the same thing in his own life. He draws them into intimacy with himself, and then he sends them out. As the Father has sent me, so I send you. And we can only truly live out our apostolic mission when we are sent. That's the secret. It's when it's not coming from me, my desire, but the Lord himself is asking this of me. And that's actually what gives us the confidence and the peace that we need to endure any trial and to preach the word of Christ without shame, without fear, and with total freedom, because it doesn't even matter what the fruits are. The fact that I am here, the fact that I'm doing what I am doing, is because the Lord himself, who I was with, sent me out. And Mary Healy gives a beautiful reflection on how this works and touches on the main points of our fruitfulness will come from the Word, from the Eucharist, and from confession. That's how we remain with Christ. Meditating on his Word, spending time with him in adoration, and going to confession to experience his mercy and remain in his grace. So I'll read this reflection for us on this feast of Saint Simon and Jude, asking for their intercession that we might truly live apostolic intimacy. When Jesus chose his 12 apostles, he revealed the secret of all fruitful ministry. He appointed 12 to be with him, sent out to preach and have authority to cast out demons. Notice that the apostles' first and most important duty was simply to be with him, to waste time in the presence of Jesus, loving him and being loved by him, learning his ways, letting their hearts become more and more aligned with his. Only then were they sent out to preach, heal, and deliver others from evil. Fruitfulness comes from being with him, or it will not come at all. Jesus said, "I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." How do we grow in intimacy with Jesus? We read his word daily, especially the Gospels. St. Ignatius of Antioch, on his way to martyrdom in Rome, wrote a letter in which he said, "I take refuge in the Gospel as the flesh of Christ." The Gospels are the flesh of Jesus, because they allow us to touch him in a very real way, to get to know his ways, his love, his voice. When we come to share in his compassion for fallen humanity, and especially for the poor, the sick, and the suffering, we are freed from all kinds of hidden misconceptions about him that we have picked up from a fallen world. On the other hand, as St. Jerome warned, ignorance of the Scriptures is ignorance of Christ. How can we be Christ's presence to others if we do not know him ourselves? We also get to know him by spending time with him in prayer, adoring him, thanking him, talking with him about our joys and our struggles. We let him warm us with the rays of his love through the Eucharistic adoration. When we receive him in Holy Communion, we welcome him into our hearts with hospitality, full of reverence and zeal. We keep our hearts pure by being quick to repent wherever there is sin, and making frequent use of the sacrament of reconciliation. A curious thing happens as we draw closer to the Lord. Instead of becoming more otherworldly or inward looking, we are propelled outward. The love of Christ compels us because we are convinced that one has died for all. The closer we come to Jesus, the more we are filled with God's unconditional love, and the more we long to give it away to the lost and the broken.